Yes, I can, actually. I have a note here. We're going to try to do some dinners for Pastor Tim. So if you guys want to help with that, see Denise, and she's going to put a schedule together. And we're going to try not to inundate him too much. I've actually seen it where we've had so much food come in that a family of 6 had enough for a month or so. So it's just, we'll pace it out so it's good. Anyway, have you ever read or seen that book, He's Just Not Into You? Have you heard? There was actually a movie that came out called He's Just Not Into You. Well, I got to thinking about the whole Ten Commandments thing, and the first 4 are really huge. So I want to take you a little story. Imagine for a moment, Sam and Margaret are in love. I mean, Sam just loves Margaret so much. Oh, she is the world to him. But Sam's starting to notice some things from Margaret. He's starting to notice that she's starting to date other guys. And this really hurts him because he wants her to be true and loyal to him. But she just starts dating these other guys. And then there's also she allows all sorts of stuff to get in the way of the relationship, like her job and her hobbies and her other friends and all this kind of stuff. It just keeps crowding in and keeping her from really being with him. And then there's this, when she's with her friends, oh my goodness, she just tears Sam down. I mean, she makes fun of him, she picks on him, she's saying all manner of bad things about him, and it's really sad. Finally, even when they're together, she allows other things to interrupt their time together. She's off flitting around doing things. She doesn't really pay attention to him. So Sam needs to get the picture that this girl, Margaret, is just not into him, right? If you look at the first 4 of the 10 Commandments, it outlines beautifully what I just said. And it's talking about a love relationship that God has with his people. Remember last chapter, he says, if you obey my commands, you will be my prized, my precious treasure. He has spent the last 3 months now leading them out of slavery, out of Egypt, and now he's wanting them to embrace him as their God, and he wants them to be able to embrace them as his people. So it's kind of like, I can imagine, something I noticed earlier was this idea of how important it is to have this relationship with God. Here's an interesting thought. Jesus said that of all the commandments, there were 2 that all of the commandments are based on. So in Mark chapter 12, if you want to read along, you can. Mark chapter 12, verses 28 through 31, it simply says, one of the teachers of the religious law was standing there listening to the debate. He realized that Jesus had answered well, so he asked, it's kind of like, I'm going to get you this time, buddy, of all the commandments, which is the most important? Wow, he must have felt really smart when he said that one, right? Jesus replied, the most important commandment is this: listen, O Israel, the Lord our God is the one and only Lord. And you must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, and all your strength. The second is equally important: love your neighbor as yourself. No other commandment is greater than these. These 2 great commandments are the basis through which we will interpret the 10 Commandments. Our first 4 are about loving God and how we will show it. Okay? So let's go back to the 10 Commandments. This is Exodus chapter 20, starting with verse 1, and we'll go through verse 11. That's not all 10. We're just going to take the first 4 today and talk about those. And God spoke all these words. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself an image in the form of anything in heaven above, or on the earth beneath, or in the waters below. You shall not bow down to them or worship them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, punishing the children for the sin of the parents to the third and fourth generation of those who hate me. But, this is the one you need to pay attention to, showing love to 1,000 generations of those who love me and keep my commandments. You shall not misuse the name of the Lord your God, for the Lord will not hold anyone guiltless who misuses his name. And number 8, verse 8, remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the Sabbath day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. On it you shall not do any work, neither you, nor your son or daughter, nor your male or female servant, nor your animals, nor any foreigner residing in your towns. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them, but he rested on the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. Would you pray with me? Lord, these very familiar commands have been talked about and shared and posted on buildings, and yet, God, I have a deep suspicion that we really don't take them to heart. You want us to love you with our heart, our soul, our mind, and our strength. And these 4 commandments give us a good idea how to do that. But ultimately, Lord God, we thank you and praise you that our salvation is not based upon our performance, but upon our faith in you. Now, Lord God, may you guide our hearts today as we talk about these things. In your name we pray. Amen. So it all starts with a